Name the new flavor for our chance to win. Well, Crayola is preferred by teachers and Marines. Howdy, this is Anderson Family Survival. I'm Devin, your host and test dummy, and today we're studying up on tomahawks, their uses, and how they've changed over time.
That's right. Tomahawk is distinctly American, just like the phrases "e pluribus unum," "molon labe," or "necessito un baño," or just like the missile that's headed towards your hidey hole.
It goes without saying that tomahawk is only one style of axe that found fame in American history and Hollywood. Tomahawks were extremely popular among the Native Americans, and they were feared by settlers and soldiers alike. It is believed the Algonquin tribe invented the tomahawk, which is essentially a small stone axe with a straight wood or bone shaft. The head of the tomahawk had a blade that was specialized for chopping and cutting, just like this one here. You see here it's nice and thin and it's nice and sharp. It can be used as a knife. The spike on the back, if it was sharpened, could also be used as an improvised knife, or it could be used to dig. And of course, these are also very handy for use in self-defense. The term tomahawk is derived from the Algonquian words tomahawk or tomahawken, which roughly means to strike down. Both the Algonquin and Iroquois tribes were already using the tomahawk by the time the first Europeans arrived. The Europeans used the heads from the British boarding axes, put them on smaller shafts, and created a single-handed, lightweight axe that was practical for use and trade with the natives.
Yes, sir. Not only did the Royal Marines provide inspiration for the greatest fighting force known to mankind, but they also provided a much-needed improvement to a tool that could have gone extinct. God bless you, Royal Marines.
Using forged metal meant improved durability and consistency, as well as many improved design capabilities. Tomahawks can now feature a spike, a hammer, or a pipe, which would have a hollowed-out shaft and traded for diplomatic or ceremonial purposes. These pipe tomahawks were usually kept by prominent chiefs as status symbols. And tomahawks, of course, were deeply personal, not just to chiefs, but everybody in the tribe. They would often decorate them with beads or feathers, any way to personalize the tomahawk and help distinguish it from another. Brass or iron heads were often used when trading with the natives, but today we use steel.
How do I know if it's a hatchet or a tomahawk?
Now I realize that axes were used and developed all over the world, so what makes a tomahawk a tomahawk? Research was pretty inconclusive, so here's my opinion. Tomahawks have a thinner blade that's suited for chopping, but can still be used as an improvised knife. They can have anything on the back, even being rounded off. It could be rounded off, it could have a hammer, it could have a spike, it could have a pry bar, it could have another blade. I've also seen tomahawks or hatchets these days that have saws in them. They have wrenches cut out into the handle or the head. The opportunities and capabilities of tomahawks today are truly endless. But tomahawks were only used by Native Americans, right? Other than that, they had no practical experience in combat, right? Actually, in the Revolutionary War, Continental Congress decreed that every soldier must carry either a tomahawk or a cutting sword, as guns at the time were often unreliable and had long reload times.
That's right. Using the tomahawk as a melee weapon greatly aided patriots like Mel Gibson during the American Revolution. I am glad that guns are a lot more reliable now, though.
Look it up. The general practice of carrying a tomahawk into combat was on its way out by the time we got to Korea. World War I and World War II, it was worth noting that a few soldiers carried tomahawks, but not that many. Korea, it started to look like the Tomahawk had seen its last major conflict. But then in 1966, Peter Lagana, a Mohawk descendant and Nazi stomper, decided that he was going to help out by producing thousands of Tomahawks for the American infantrymen as he fought in the jungles of Vietnam. I was actually surprised to find out that my uncle actually carried one of these Tomahawks while he was over there. He told me that it resembled the Fast Hawk, and it's actually what brought up the conversation between us. It just had a slightly different head, no cutouts, and I think he said the spike was a little bit more defined and more aggressive. It had a hickory handle. I believe he said it was black. I mean, really, all in all, from what I've seen of him and from what he told me, it was a very, very awesome Tomahawk. Sturdy, stout, reliable, which is exactly what you want in your Tomahawk. At this time, though, in Vietnam, it was actually discouraged to carry Tomahawks because, well, how does it look if you unleash American soldiers onto a foreign country and they're bludgeoning people to death with Tomahawks? So soldiers who carried them would often defend having them by saying that they were for obstacle removal, a term as versatile and durable as the Tomahawk itself. Today, most soldiers and devil dogs that carry Tomahawks will most likely cite the same reason for carrying them, and they're becoming more and more practical in that sense. Manufacturers have jumped onto the bandwagon and have started adding pry bars and things that I've mentioned before that really accentuate the obstacle removal purpose of the Tomahawk.
Now, back then they used wood or bone to make a handle. Now, using bone today would make people look at you awful funny. So we stick to wood, metal, which is often wrapped or coated to give it better comfort and grip. Or ballistic polymer. You know, I ain't too sure what a ballistic polymer is.
Well, polyurethane is put through a process called reactive injection molding, which is the same process used to make materials like car bumpers and computer components. It's put into the mold. They usually insert a core material, and there you go. You have a very sturdy, rugged handle. I've only had one break of the many, many that I've owned. I personally recommend these. I cannot tell you enough how awesome and comfortable and lightweight they are.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
I will say that there's a lot of Tomahawks I would love to get my hands on. Maybe one day I will. Oh, yeah.
You know, I've also seen them Tomahawks made out of that Damascus steel. I ain't ever used it, but I would say, if it's true, honest to God, kiss your mama goodnight on this Damascus steel, yeah, it would be worth looking into.
Yes. Thank you for your input. Regardless of the materials used, Tomahawks today come in an abundant variety, with many maximizing the effectiveness of a particular chore that Tomahawks perform. Tomorrow we'll be doing a demonstration of a wide range of Tomahawks that I have myself accumulated over a decade. I'm hoping that my wasted time and money can help save you wasted time and money. More time with your family, because I care about your family as much as I care about mine. This has been Anderson Family Survival. We're gung-ho about family.